In a small town, everyone pointed and laughed at a scruffy cat that walked was a very strange. He had a twisted tail and ears that flopped in a way that made him look quite ridiculous. The neighborhood children called him Goofy and threw small pebbles whenever he tried to approach their front doors. Local shopkeepers shooed him away because they thought his odd appearance would scare all the high-paying customers. Goofy never hissed or scratched back, but instead he just tilted his head and watched them with sadness. He spent his nights in the cold alleyway behind an old clock shop that was owned by Silas. Silas was an old man who was also ignored by the town, and he shared his modest meals. One night while Silas was working late, he saw Goofy staring intensely at the wooden floor near door. Silas laughed at first, thinking the cat was just chasing shadows or perhaps a tiny invisible ghost insect. But Goofy started scratching the floorboards with a sense of urgency that Silas had never seen before today. The cat meowed in a deep, strange tone that sounded almost like a warning to the old man. Silas finally knelt down and removed the heavy rug, only to find the wood was dangerously rotting away. Beneath the floor, a massive water pipe was leaking and about to burst right under the entire shop. If it had burst at night, the whole building would have collapsed while Silas was fast asleep inside. Silas realized that Goofy was not stupid or weird, but he had senses that were incredibly sharp, and the next morning, the townspeople gathered to laugh as Goofy sat proudly on the old man's wooden. They did not know that the strange cat had saved a life while they were busy making fun. Silas stepped outside and silenced the crowd with a loud voice that shook the very foundations of town. He told them the truth about how the rejected cat was actually a hero with a golden heart. The laughter stopped instantly, and a heavy silence fell over the people who had been so very cruel. A woman who had shooed him away yesterday now felt a deep sting of shame in her heart. She realized that beauty is not about the ears or the tail, but about the soul within us. Goofy looked at the crowd and let out a soft purr as if he was forgiving them all. From that day on, the town started to treat every stray animal with much more respect and love. They replaced Goofy's name with Guardian because he watched over the streets with his very special sharp. The children who used to throw pebbles now brought him soft pillows and the most expensive cat. Goofy did not change his walk or his tail, but the eyes of the people had finally changed. Silas and Goofy became the most famous pair in the province, and people traveled miles to see them. They learned that a miracle can come in a scruffy package that the world chooses to ignore today. The truth was that Goofy had been a hero all along, just waiting for someone to finally. One afternoon, a fire broke out in the local bakery and the smoke was thick and very black. Goofy ran inside before anyone could move and led the baker's young son out to the safe. The town watched in awe as a floppy-eared cat emerged from the flames like a brave little. Now nobody laughed when he walked by. They bowed their heads in a sign of true deep. Goofy taught everyone that your struggle often prepares you for a great mission that others cannot even. He used his twisted tail like a rudder, and his flopped ears helped him hear the silent. Silas wrote a book about the cat's life and the truth that was hidden behind the funny. The book was sold in every shop, and the money was used to build a beautiful pet. People started to look for the beauty in things that were broken or different from the normal. Goofy was no longer an outcast but a king of the streets who had won every single. On a snowy evening, the town held a feast and Goofy sat at the head of table. He was given a gold collar with his new name engraved in diamonds that sparkled in the. Silas smiled as he watched his friend receive the love that he had deserved from the very. The lesson stayed in the hearts of the townspeople for generations and was told to every. Never judge a book by its cover or a cat by its ears, for you might be. Goofy spent his golden years sleeping on the softest bed in the shop that he had saved. He was a reminder that even if the world laughs at you, your purpose remains very. The truth is often quiet and patient, while the lies of the world are very loud. And Silas and Goofy watched the sunsets together, knowing they had changed the world in their own small. Every cat in that town was now fed well because of the miracle that Goofy had performed. A statue of Goofy was built in the town square so that no one would ever forget. The statue showed his twisted tail and his floppy ears exactly as they were in real life. It was a symbol of strength and the courage to be different in the world of the. When Goofy finally went to sleep forever, the whole town closed their shops in the day of. They lined the streets with candles to light his way to the stars, where he now truly. Silas lived on with the memory of the best friend a man could ever ask to find. He knew that the laughter of the past was now replaced by the eternal love of the. The story of the cat everyone laughed at became a legend of truth and the power of. May we all have the eyes to see the heroes hiding in plain sight around us every. Thank you for watching Goofy's story, and please be kind to every soul that looks a bit.